Am I worthy of this? Am I worthy of this as my job? Am I worthy of this relationship? Or am I worthy of these friendships I have, or these opportunities? And you just kind of question everything. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Aisha Beasley. A lot of people know me on my other socials at Aisha Beasley on TikTok and Instagram, where I talk about my life living in Arizona and things to do in food. I'm a foodie. I go out and review food, but on my YouTube, we're just talking about all the things. So life in my 30s, life living in Arizona, and anything else that comes up in my life. Today, we're just going to do another sit-down chat where we just talk about how you don't have to have it figured out yet, in your 30s. You don't need to have it figured out yet at any age. I mean, we're all growing and we're all learning. And I know for myself, I still feel like I don't have my life together in some aspects. I feel like there's times where I don't know my direction, or I don't know what it's gonna look like in another 5 years, and I'm just trying to be way more present. And we're gonna chat about some things that I've personally been struggling with, so you feel like you're not alone, and also just a few things that I'm personally going to be working on for this next half of the year. So let's get into it. So I am 33, and I definitely feel like my 20s, I really didn't have it together, and that's okay. Your 20s are there for you to make mistakes, learn, grow, date around, have those experiences to where you build up a lot of life experience. And I'm thankful I was able to have that time in my 20s to learn a lot, especially financially, because I was not good in that sector at all in my early 20s. Like, I completely ruined my credit. I was just reckless, and now that I'm in my 30s, this is kind of like my first go at having good credit. So that's one thing I've cleaned up. We've cleaned that up for sure. But I would have to say, job-wise, I worked my way up in a company ever since I was 21, and I had these dreams and these aspirations to grow in this company, and that was my life. That was my goal. And things started to shift for me, as I was going into my mid to my late 20s. I was finding different passions and hobbies, and one of those was creating content. So I started that journey years ago in kind of the early 2010s, and it was always just something that was so fun and something I never imagined would become a job for me. And I made that happen in my early 30s. And, I am a year and a half as being a full-time content creator, which is so cool. And, I've accomplished that goal. I accomplished that thing. And sometimes I still feel like, what am I doing? Is this a forever thing for me? Am I going to be doing this forever? And I question, my worthiness of doing all of this. And I think especially in the creator world, you're subject to so much comparison, and that's one thing that I've always struggled with. And I thought, people say, oh, when you get older, you're gonna care less what people think, and you're not gonna be so worried about what other people are doing. And I'm sitting up here at 33, and I still feel that at 33. And in my head, I thought that was just a thing for people who are young, who are teenagers, or even when you're in your early 20s. It's very normal to feel unworthy, to feel not good enough. And I still struggle with that. And that's something that I'm personally trying to navigate and work on in my 30s. And I don't think people talk about it enough, that even at 33, it's still sometimes a battle with your self-esteem or your unworthiness. And sometimes it as you age, you just don't wake up one day and that goes away. And it takes a lot of inner work. And I think that's one of the things that I will kind of like deep dive in, and I'll put my 2 feet in, and then I just kind of dip out of it. Like I don't go full all in on, I guess, my healing journey, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know. You know, we talk about self-love, self-acceptance, but I think it's one of those things. It's a lifelong journey, but it's also something that you really have to put in the work. And sometimes that's hard when you're so immersed in your job, your relationship, your family, and you're so immersed and pulled in other directions that you kind of lose track of that and lose track of focusing on yourself. We're going to talk a little bit about navigating friendships. And I grew up as a very shy, introverted person, and it just takes me a lot to be close to people and open up. And that's always been a struggle with friendships and relationships. And you think as you get older, those things will get easier. And I think at 33, friendships are still tough. I think now I've been a little bit better navigating certain friendships and relationships, especially now that I'm in this social media space where, you know, you do sometimes have to be careful with people's intentions, and you have to find real, true people that care and will stand behind you. But I would have to say that all didn't happen up until probably a couple of years ago. Because in my 20s, a lot of my friendships were rooted in partying, going out, just being in the scene. And then once I kind of left all of that, and I wasn't really going out as much, because in my mid to late 20s, I was living at home. I was living with my grandparents and stuff like that. So I wasn't out every single weekend because I was getting free rent, and they'd be real pissed if I was out partying and I didn't have to pay rent. So you know what I'm saying? Like, I just wasn't out all the time. Like, I wasn't out in my early 20s, but you really kind of see who your friends are. Like, are they the ones that are going to be there for you if you're crying or if this bad thing happens? And I feel like entering my 30s, I was starting to repeat that pattern a little bit with certain friendships, because a lot of those friendships were rooted over social media and what the kind of the give and the take from social media. You know, I was very, knowledgeable on, how to grow. And, I was growing, my Instagram and my TikTok, in the very beginning, especially in 2020 and stuff like that. And I felt like a lot of my friendships weren't really genuine because they were just social media friendships. So it's like, oh yeah, come with me to this event and you'll grab my content, I'll grab your content type of thing, like a trade for trade, which is fine. We all want to help each other out, but I felt like there wasn't anything beyond that. And I think now at my age, I'm trying to navigate those types of friendships as well, because not saying those friendships are still there. It's just now I have to be like, okay, is this really a genuine friendship? And by all means, I'm not saying I'm the perfect friend, I'm the perfect person. We all have busy lives, we all have things. And I think for me, because I rooted a lot of those friendships around social media and stuff like that, you don't really know who's really going to be there or a genuine friend. And I think that's something that, I'm navigating at this stage in my life. And it's hard because you feel like maybe they were so close to you, or you guys have a lot in common at some point, and then it kind of faded out. And it's a tough thing. And I thought at this age I would have my friendships on lock, friendships figured out, and we're still figuring that out. I feel like one thing that has personally helped me is when I hang out with my friends, when we have like free time to hang out, I make sure that time isn't rooted around filming or content. It's like, yes, let's go grab coffee, or yes, let's go get drinks, or go get dinner, or go do this. And it's not rooted fully around social media. I feel like when it's not that, it's definitely, I've been feeling a lot better with my friendship. I think it's just nice to just kind of catch up with a friend, and I'm not like, hey, hold up, like I invited you to this place, like I need to film and we need to film. Like I just want to genuinely like catch up with my friend, making sure that you just have that just time without the partying or without all the other things involved, and just have those genuine connections with your friends, the actual connection of like, how are you feeling? How's life been? You know, just those types of genuine connections I think are super important. Relationships and dating. Oh my gosh. When we're talking about dating and relationships, I mean, throughout my 20s, dating and being in a relationship was definitely a struggle for me, just based off of me really having severely low self-esteem. I put myself in a lot of like bad situations with men, and just overall just bad situationships, you know, just rooted on my own lack of self-confidence. And so when I entered my 30s, a lot of those life lessons that I learned in my 20s with dating, I was unlearning. Like I was unlearning the bad habits and relearning new habits, but I still was kind of cycling in this same pattern with some specific relationships, you know, until I met my boyfriend now, and he's amazing, and he's everything I ever wanted in a man. And I think that navigating being in a relationship is, you feel like you've done the work, and you're like, I'm healed, I'm ready for all of this. And then when you get into it, you kind of start to still realize that there is still work to be done. Just because you're in a relationship doesn't mean you're going to be 100% healed. And, you know, traumas and things just don't kind of come to the surface, because they will, you know, that's just life. That's normal to have those feelings. And I think it's taught me, being in a relationship and being in a serious relationship, the work and inner work I need to still pour into myself. I think for the longest time, I've been just so focused on my job and creating content and friends and relationship and everything, that I feel like for the longest time I've not fully honored myself. And, you know, I think there's just been times where I'm just like, I don't know who I am sometimes. And I just want to let you guys know that sometimes these feelings are normal, you know. And I think that you can be in a relationship, or you could have this career or this dream job, or have these amazing friends and amazing family, and still feel a little lost with yourself. And I think the biggest thing I'm learning is to work on myself, is to focus on myself, focus on hobbies I want to focus on, and focus on growing as a person. I feel like I haven't been doing that a lot. So that's one of the biggest things that I'm going to be working on the rest of this year, taking you along on my little healing journey as well, because I feel like, again, I haven't been fully honoring myself. So I don't know if you guys have seen this book. I just bought this book on Amazon. It's called The Inner Bonding Workbook. I actually started reading some of it today, and I'm just going to take a moment each morning to write and read in this, because it's kind of like a workbook. I'll probably show a zoomed in picture of it too, but it's a workbook where it just kind of helps you just discover yourself a little bit more. And that's kind of just the journey I'm going to be going on. And I think also I have some very toxic habits that I need to break. And one of those has to be, I check my phone, I check social media first thing in the morning, which isn't good. And I think it just kind of sets your day up wrong. I will literally pick up my phone in the morning and just scroll TikTok, scroll Instagram, answer texts, answer emails, when I just probably need to just like woosah in the morning and just like, I just need to meditate. And my boyfriend is so good about this, and he's amazing. He has his mindset and his morning routine on lock. I should do a video doing my boyfriend's morning routine, because his is amazing, and it's something that I want to work on to and get onto that level. But yeah, I'm gonna start that book, you guys. I think I want to start reading again more, and also I want to start finding like a new hobby outside of social media. Now that social media is my job, which I love, don't get me wrong, I love creating and I love making videos. But, you know, I think having something outside of this is really good, because I think it's important to have that separation just for your own sanity and your own mental health. I think it's really important to have other hobbies. But yeah, those are some things I'm gonna work on. And then also just, you know, really get back on being consistent with my fitness. I do love health, I do love wellness, and I do love working out. So I wanna lean more into that too, because it just does make me feel good. It makes me feel good about myself. It makes me feel good about accomplishing other things. And I do love doing it. So yeah. I don't know what else to say. This was kind of like a random little video diary rant. I don't know. But I just wanted to say, you guys, you're just not alone. And if you're struggling in your 30s and you feel like you don't know what's next, you don't know what to do with your life, you don't know if you're in the right place, just know that you're not alone. And, you know, sometimes I struggle with that too. Like, I'm kind of struggling with maybe the what ifs, or what's next, or am I worthy of this? Am I worthy of this as my job? Am I worthy of this relationship? Or am I worthy of these friendships I have, or these opportunities? And, you know, you just kind of question everything, and you question if this is the right path for you. And just know that it will all work out. And I think it just takes you to just kind of put in some of that inner work and pour back into yourself, because I think a lot of times we want to focus so much on others and what other people are doing. And, you know, you want to nurture your friendships, you want to nurture your relationship, you want to nurture, or maybe not nurture your job, but you want to do well at your job and appease your managers and appease these people. And you're giving, but you're just not giving back to yourself. And I think that for me, that's something that I'm going to start to sit with more, because I do feel like I've neglected myself a lot, and I kind of want to continue to, I don't know, I just want to continue to grow as a person, because I think I have seen so much growth from my 20s up until now. Like, in my 20s, I would not be sitting in front of a camera trying to make a YouTube video, which I attempted in my 20s. Well, in my late 20s, I attempted it, but there's a lot of things I held back on in my 20s because I was afraid, that now in my 30s, I need to not be afraid anymore. I need to be more intentional. I need to go after the things that maybe scare me. And I think that's something that I really, really held back in my 20s. And I don't want it to be another decade where I don't go after everything I want and truly just love myself, because that is something that I've always struggled with. So woo, I was about to get a little emotional, but if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment if you're going through some of the same things, and I can't wait to chat with you guys again in my next video. I will see you next time.